Hi there, I'm Steve.
And I'm Brad. And we're going to show you how to install both the round and square nose BestTreads with returns.
The installation process is the same for both.
Before you do anything, make sure that the return on the existing step is flat.
This way, when you attach a new piece, a return piece, it's going to be flush against the top.
The tools you're going to need for this install are
construction adhesive, caulk gun, painter's tape, tape measure, a scraper, and a square. Your BestTreads come with miters on both sides, so you can either have a left or a right side, depending what your steps are open to.
Once you determine what side your steps are open to, make sure you note it, because the opposite side is where you're going to be making your cuts.
If your return is round, you need to remove it and make it square so that your new piece of molding will have something to attach it to. To determine if you have a right or left step, stand at the bottom of the steps looking up, and it's either on the right-hand side is the opening end or the left-hand side is the opening end. We're going to actually be doing a right-hand installation today.
Yeah, definitely look at the bottom of the steps looking up, and that's the right side, the left side, not standing at the top of the steps looking down. That would be opposite.
Now that we know which side the return is on,
we're going to take a measurement of the entire stair. Any obstacles, any posts, we're going to measure that too, so we're going to have to cut that into the BestTread.
Now that we're ready to measure, we're going to use our return piece. Again, we removed our round and put a flat stock on. We're going to take our return, put it onto the edge, and use a pencil mark. From this line, this is going to be the measurement of the width of the tread. So the measurement of the width of the tread will be 40 3/8. Let's measure the depth of the step. 11 1/4. We're going to add 1/4 inch for the material, so overall it's going to be 11 1/2. Each step is different, and here we have a post, so we have to do some measurements for the cutouts. Our line, again, 1 1/4 inch. The post itself is 3 1/4, and 3 1/2 inches back on the other side. So we're going to transfer that to our stair tread, cut that out, and then do a dry fit.
Whether you're installing a round nose or a square nose, the steps are the same. So now that we have the measurements of the step, we're going to apply them to the tread.
We had 40 1/2 inches. We're going to mark that from the edge of the return. Use some painter's tape to remark it to cut down the chatter. $40 1/2 from the return. Now we're going to use our straight edge. To mark the depth of the BestTread, you want to measure the tread overall. We have 12 inches. Our measurement is 11 1/2, so we need to cut a 1/2 inch off the back edge. And again, we're going to apply some painter's tape to avoid chatter. Half an inch. Use a straight edge. Draw your pencil line. And now we have our back edge. Before we apply the measurements for the post, let's cut these measurements. Now that's cut, we can apply the measurements for the post. 1 1/4 inch, 3 1/4 for the post, and 3 1/2 inches deep. We're going to apply some painter's tape so avoid the chatter. Again, apply the measurements onto the tape now. 1 1/4 inch, 3 1/4 inch, and 3 1/2 inches deep. We're going to use a square. And now we can go cut that. Now that it's cut, let's do a dry fit to make sure it's a nice snug fit. Looks good.
The dry fit looks good, nice and snug. So now we're gonna add some glue for the install. Now to make sure we have full support with the construction adhesive, we're gonna have a generous bead inside the cap. First we're gonna do the perimeter of the tread.
Now we're going to do a serpentine pattern in between. Now that's glued, let's install it. Slide it in, push down, make sure to apply the pressure even all around. Wipe any excess glue if it comes out. And now we're ready to do the return.
Now that the tread is installed, let's start working on the returns.
The returns come in the box like this. They're 18 inches long, either a round or a square.
They're both uncut, so you can decide what side you want to miter first.
Now that we cut off 45, we can butt it up to the existing tread to mark our back edge cut. We cut the first miter, do a dry fit, and mark the back. Now we can cut the back miter for the return. Now that we made the second cut to our return, we're going to miter the leftover piece for the back return. Now that we mitered both sides, we can do a dry fit and measure for the back return, 1.25 inches.
Now that these pieces are all cut, we're going to dry fit them, make sure they fit well.
Now that the dry fit is good, we're ready to glue. Nice amount. And then we're going to also do the return. And he's going to hold that one. I'm going to throw some glue on there. And then we're going to stick that on and line it up correctly. Now that the glue's on, we're going to put the return on. I have painter's tape also to help hold it in place while it dries. Looks good.
So now that everything is glued and installed, we're going to follow the construction adhesive manufacturer guidelines on the cure times before we go anywhere near those steps.
Again, thank you for watching this video for the best treads with returns and how to install them.